Lynn, can you hear me?
There we go. Hi, Tristan.
How are you doing this morning? Is John Palmer going to be joining on his own through his own link, or is he in the office with you?
Tristan, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me? You can't hear me?
Okay.
Thank you. Can you hear me now, Lynn? Okay.
Julie, can you come help me with this audio, please? I don't have any audio. Okay, go on to my office.
Can you hear me, Lynn?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It will John Palmer be joining us via his own connection?
I'm expecting him to join me in the conference room here at any moment.
Oh, okay. Great.
So it looks like I'm set up to document share with you, Tristan.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that it's working this time. All right. We have John LaRue on the phone as well.
Hey, hi, Lynn.
Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'll be ready to resume seeing everyone in person.
Great. Yeah, we're going to start up. We've got a finance and executive committee meeting on Monday, and we're going to do it both live and give the option if somebody prefers to do it by Zoom. I think that's the way it'll stay for a while.
I think that's the only option we have, really. We're giving a city council presentation on June the 23rd. That'll be in person, but we're limited on how many people we can bring, of course.
Yeah.
That's okay. We don't mind following the rules.
Yeah. We got a good turnout here. See a lot of familiar names, not maybe faces, but Allison, nice to see you. And I did see Ken Griffin somewhere. There he is. Hi, Ken.
Still waiting on Eric as well.
That is a big crowd. I think the biggest Zoom presentation I've given is 29 people. This may be going up to that.
Our first one we did,
Mhm.
we hosted with Senator Corna as our first Zoom presentation, and we had 350 people.
350?
Yeah, and that was my first day ever using Zoom. It was interesting to say the least.
Oh my goodness. We're all
No
gonna be
pressure on that one.
I was sweating profusely in the office. You would think I just ran a 10K, but I just sat in my chair.
That's amazing. We just had John Palmer walk in. I'll wait until we have Eric for our little introductions. He and I are sharing a screen this morning.
Just,
So here we're going to go through this, and we have control of this.
yeah, we still got a couple minutes.
Okay.
These Zoom webinars have really made it great for those who typically couldn't, be here for our morning meetings or for our meetings throughout the day. That's why the participation, even something like this, is really great. We're excited about that moving forward, implementing that even when we get back to our regular in-person meetings.
I agree. It makes life easier to multitask, being able to do this from your desk and manage a few other things. If you're not really fully participating in a meeting, but you want to be present, it's awfully nice to be able to do a Zoom conference and work from your desk.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah. Eric's not on?
All right. Let's give him just a few more minutes. I'm not sure if if he's joined via his phone. I don't know which one that would be.
Okay. Eric, if you're out there on your phone, could you let us know what number that is? You can,
Just email one of us.
yeah, email or text me or Tristan so we can unmute you.
I just messaged Jenny as well to see if we could get his number.
Okay. Tristan, why don't we get started?
Yep.
Okay. I'll kick it off and wait for Eric to get on. This is our Chamber Infrastructure Committee, and I think we've broken a record. We have 72 people attending. Usually when we do this here at the RTA building up on the 3rd floor, we might have 15. So one of the benefits of Zoom and WebEx meetings are that so many more people can and choose to attend. So we were saying before, once we get back to what will be whatever normal is with more face-to-face meetings, we're going to continue to add this as an option for our committees, because I think it does bring a lot more people into it. And today we've got a subject that we're all very interested in, that's a part of our lives and has been for a few years and will be for a few more, and that's the status and an update on the Harbor Bridge. And Lynn Allison is here, and Lynn actually gave us an update at the Infrastructure Committee. It was shortly after you started there, Lynn. I think it was maybe your 2nd week, and we made you give us an update. You did a great job. But this is an important issue, and with what's been going on with COVID and everybody being locked down, we thought it was appropriate now as we start to come out of our bunkers to and look around Corpus Christi to see what's happening with the bridge and to get an update. I just want to thank everybody. I saw a couple of our chamber board members here. I see. I did see Bill Stockley, and I saw Catherine Hilliard, and I see Ed Cantu's there, who's been a long time member. And I also see they're just listed as CCIA, but if you can unmute them, Tristan, I'll let them introduce themselves. They're 2 new assistant directors out at the airport. And when we talk about infrastructure and the future of Corpus Christi, there are a few things more important than the airport. So guys, go ahead. I'll give you each a 30-second elevator speech on who you are.
All right, super. Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Kevin Smith. I've been in Corpus Christi since April 13th, and it's been great so far. Looking forward to getting out and meeting everybody. I had the privilege to meet with Mr. LaRue last week, and just catching up on everything and trying to learn what all is going on. But it's been great so far, so thank you for having us on today.
Morning, everybody. My name is Tyler Miller. I came from South Bend, Indiana, where I was born and raised. Spent a little time in Florida before that, so I've worked at 2 airports that have similar characteristics, similar size, similar problems, and strengths and weaknesses as CCIA. South Bend is an hour and a half away from Chicago, just like we are close to San Antonio. So I come from the area where, people are driving right past us to go to the big city, and I've kind of learned how to manage that a little bit too. But very happy to be here. Happy to get rid of the snow operations in the north and join you guys in the I'm a new Texan, so howdy everybody. Good morning. But yeah, very excited to work with Kevin as the Assistant Director of Operations and start to contribute to what we're building here.
Yeah, Devin Bach, Ginny and I went out and met at the airport, and that was my first live meeting in about 3 months, about 10 days ago. And we're going to make sure that we give them an opportunity for this infrastructure committee to give, once they get a little more feet on the ground, to be able to come to this committee and talk about some of the things that they see that we can do to try to, as we all want to do, improve the airport and get better level of service, both for the customer and for the airline. So I'm glad you could join us today. With that, Lynn, I'll turn it over to you and let you start out with your presentation.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. And I certainly hope you'll find I know a little more of what I'm talking about now than when I first spoke to all of you. And fortunately, I have our Deputy Project Manager here, John Palmer, who's been on the project for a couple of years and has extensive institutional knowledge. And together we can give you the best possible update. So, and we'll get into the COVID impacts if you'll just let me start going through these slides. We can take some questions along the way or wait until the end. I think we talked about taking questions through a chat box. Is that how we're going to do this, Tristan?
Yes, I let everyone know in chat. If you're on via Zoom, you can send in your questions via the chat box here. But if you've dialed in on your phone, you can email me directly, Tristan. That's TRISTON at unitedcchamber.com, and I'll forward those questions to you.
And then Tristan, if you don't mind, maybe you can kind of be the moderator of those questions, or you or John, is that okay? And y'all can kind of shout them out to us as we go through this. How does that sound?
Absolutely, that works.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, so you can see here we've got our image of the cable stays main span of the bridge starting off, which this is the section of the project that's on hold. But John and I will go through this, and I hope you've all seen a tremendous amount of construction and progress along the way, despite the pause on the main span. So we'll get into that. Today we'll talk about the project overview. We'll go into some of the project safety and training, which includes COVID impacts, environmental impacts, our quality assurance plan, a construction update, traffic impacts, and how we communicate on the project. So just a project overview, we have 2,650.
Are you sharing your screen yet? We don't see it.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had it all along. Let's see, Tristan, you may have to talk me through this.
Okay.
I thought we had a shared screen going here.
Oh, you got to click on the one there. There we go. We see it now.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Let me minimize this. There we go. Okay. Project overview. We have a tremendous amount of concrete going into this project, and that's going to be over 300,000 cubic yards of earthwork and concrete, and then we have over 8 million linear feet of strands for the cable stay system. We have over 36,000 tons of rebar in the project, 2,650 concrete segments that go up into the approaches in the main span, which weigh anywhere from 100 to 120 tons a piece. So next we'll go into the new bridge will be the longest main span cable stay bridge in North America, at least for a while, and the tallest structure in South Texas. A lot of the work we're doing involves highway reconstruction and new building roads and bridges. About 6.5 miles of highway and roadworks reconstruction of course, a new 6-lane harbor bridge that connects 181 to Crosstown Expressway. We're reconstructing about 1.6 miles of IH-37, about 1 mile of Crosstown Expressway, and then, of course, it includes the demolition of the new bridge. And with our contract, we have a 25-year operation and maintenance plan. You can see the tower height of the new pylon towers will be a total of 538 feet, which is about 120 feet taller than the American Bank Plaza South Tower. The new main span will be 1,661 feet long with a navigational clearance of 205 feet, which is obviously essential for our VLCCs coming in and out of the harbor. We'll have a tremendous LED light display with unlimited opportunities, and then a shared use path with a lookout point on top of the bridge. You can see how massive this new cable stay bridge will be because it completely dwarfs and overtakes the existing harbor bridge. We have 6 lanes. The difference in these lanes is they're wider lanes, and each northbound and southbound lane has a 10-foot shoulder on each side, including, plus the northbound lane of the new bridge will have the 10-foot shared use path, which is substantially wider than the walkway we have on the new bridge, on the existing bridge. With that, we'll go into our safety and COVID impacts on the project. As a public works critical infrastructure project, we have continued working both with our administrative and our crew members. We have about 500 FDLC employees plus another 300 subcontractors that have continued to work on the project. As of this week, we fortunately remain COVID free. However, I've had instances where we've had to pull off members from the crew and their entire teams as we do some testing if anyone's felt like they've been exposed. So there has been some impact on slowing down certain crews, but so far we've been able to get everybody back out on the job. Like I said, we put people in quarantine if we've had any suspicion until the test results come back, and then fortunately we've been able to get everybody back out there. We have very strict protocols in place. All of our crew members are now wearing facial coverings on the project, both in and out of the office. We have weekly safety briefings with our safety manager. Safety has always been the #1 issue on the Harbor Bridge project and for TxDOT in general. So we consistently are working with keeping our employees hydrated. We have heat concerns as much as we have COVID concerns right now. We've received safety awards for non-incidents on the project. So we're real proud of how everything is coming together from a safety standpoint. I have to give a shout out to our environmental crew. This job has environmental impacts, of course. We're working around the wetlands, and we have environmental and species involved in the project. We have, our crews are constantly being trained by our environmental team on these nesting birds to look out for, and we work around the wildlife. So you can see it's been birding season this spring. So we've had several birds that have made their homes on our equipment and around our work project, and we do everything we can to protect and mitigate their habitat, including the wetlands mitigation, which we've done some replanting on the North Beach side of the project, and that's been being monitored, and we have an irrigation system in place to keep those native wetland grasses healthy over there. We have environmental quality assurance, where you can see we have the rock filter dams along the salt flat channel to pick up any sediment that may be coming down in heavy rains. You can see the photo of the wetland mitigation with the grass replanting. We have these turbidity curtains installed throughout the project to control erosion. and silt and sedimentation from moving downstream into the salt flat and recon channels on the north side of the project. One of the questions we receive often is, what happens when we bring in a new engineer of record for the main span of the bridge? Are they going to have to rebuild the whole bridge? And we strongly believe that our quality assurance plan is in place, and everything that's been built so far has been checked and rechecked by ourselves, TxDOT, and third parties. And we expect a reevaluation from the new engineer of record, but we don't anticipate any major design changes of the work that's already been done, nor the new bridge design. Correct, John?
Correct.
I'll let John weigh in on that for any questions to follow. So here we go with the construction update. Despite the main span pause, we have a tremendous amount of work going on the project, and I hope all of you can see that, especially anyone who works downtown. You can see the tremendous amount of work going on in the Washington Coles, Hillcrest area, and North Beach. The north approach over there is hard to miss when you're driving down Shoreline. You can see that gantry crane really creating a new skyline. I want to give another shout out to our operations and maintenance crew that we have on this job. Part of my job is constantly taking phone calls from businesses and homeowners impacted in our right of way. We are a major infrastructure project, so we are not without incidents of, dust and dirt and mud and equipment problems with getting grass trenched up or anything like that, but we're always on standby to work with people who have been impacted by the project. We have several processes in place to send out a crew to take care of street sweeping or residential issues or signs that have fallen down or anything like that. A lot of the work that goes into this project is drainage and utility work, a lot of underground work. You can see on the left side of this photo the southbound frontage road on the north side of the project, where we've put in new drainage systems to come underneath that bridge. The middle photo is drainage along that'll go over Lake Street and into Salt Flat Channel. We like to talk about this project in sections. So we have the north side of the project, which is US 181 reconstruction, and which goes into the north approach. And then the center there over the ship canal is the cable stay bridge. Then we get into the south approach, which is from Whataburger Field all the way over to IH-37. We have South Roadworks, which is this whole interchange of IH-37, 286, and 181 tie-in. That includes a tremendous amount of ramps and exit and on-ramp in addition to the roadworks. Oh, and not to leave out Robstown up here. We have our precast yard out in Robstown where we build all our own bridge and approach segments. And we are now moving our batch plant out to Robstown, where we also mix our own concrete. We have a lot going on at the precast yard in Robstown, and some of you may have participated in some of our tours out there, but we'll be doing another one of those in the coming year. You can see what goes on at our precast yard. These are the segments that are going into the approach spans. And if you see this gentleman standing on top of this, you can see how large these segments are. Again, that weigh between 100 and 120 tons a piece, and each one has about 50 cubic yards of concrete. These straddle carriers over here, I find them fascinating, and my son, who's into this construction, you can see these straddle carriers that carry these cranes around. There's one of them is a 150-ton straddle carrier, and then we have a 200-ton straddle carrier out there in Robstown. Here we go back to our North Beach roadworks on the north side of the project. I work closely with our manager of traffic, our MOT, and we're getting ready to do some some traffic switches over on North Beach, which is related to progress on the project. We've rebuilt this whole southbound frontage road over here that'll be opening at the end of June, early July to two-way traffic, which goes into the work on the north approach. You can see the north approach really taking shape and how it sort of launches into the new bridge that's going to be built across the ship channel. That 181 will tie in at a later date here at the north end of the north approach. And this gantry crane up here that's finishing up the, let's see, this is the southbound, the northbound span. Once this gantry crane finishes up on North Beach, we will relocate it this summer to start working on the south approach span. Tristan, please stop me if you need me to answer a question along the way. Just because I have this full screen, I'm not looking at questions right now.
Yeah, no problem. We'll probably so far just save them till the end.
Okay,
I
sounds
want
good.
to stop you while you're giving your presentation.
So here we get into the north pylon, which is paused at lift 10 until we bring in the new replacement design firm. Here's both the north and the south pylon towers. You can see this one here by Whataburger Field. The south tower is paused at lift 11, which will tie into this nodal zone and table that will have the second tower built across the top of that table. A lot of the work that goes into these approaches is the process of building these columns, which starts with the foundation footing. Each one of the columns that goes into the approaches has a footing that consists of 24 to 28 100-foot, 2 feet by 2 feet concrete piles that are driven about 100 feet into the ground that make up the footing and the foundation for each one of our column piers and towers. Here we get into a tremendous amount of work going on at the south approach area. You can see our salt flat channel that we've made about 4 times bigger than the previous channel for drainage that comes from the whole downtown and uptown area. You can see up here at the south tower, this is the line of the approach that will lead into the Crosstown Expressway interchange. We have, of course, this is the northbound lane taking shape. There's direct connectors involved. This here is the shared use path on the right that will come in to the bridge for our pedestrians and our bikes. Over 50% of the project involves roadworks. Like I said, highway reconstruction, building new bridges. This is kind of an aerial view of the whole interchange actually, this is Comanche Street Bridge, which we completely rebuilt, and we have a new exit off of northbound Crosstown Expressway that goes on to Comanche Street and takes you into the uptown area. So this is a view from Crosstown looking towards the ship channel, and this whole interchange is under construction, and there's cranes dotted all the way from here to the ship channel with our pile driving work to build these new direct connectors and ramps around IH-37, 181, and Crosstown Expressway. Much of the scope of our work involves building new or reconstructing 21 roadway bridges. 4 of these are direct connectors that will connect off of the new approach from Crosstown and 181. We have completely built a new Stillman Street pedestrian bridge with a walkover that goes over IH-37, and it extends beyond the frontage roads for pedestrian safety. We've rebuilt, let's see, here we have a Nueces Bay Bridge, which has a tremendous amount of work going on. We've the original Nueces Bay Bridge was 14 feet, 4-inch clearance, and the new bridge is 16 feet, 6-inch clearance, which helps our port traffic. And this will be, of course, 8 lanes. Working on the westbound lanes here on the right side. Much of the work that I do involves traffic impacts. We have constantly, with our road closures and our detours, we're constantly sending out traffic notifications. And I encourage Jenny or John or Tristan to let me know if anyone needs to be added or would like to be added to our distribution list on traffic updates. We have, if you go to our website, you can see maps of future traffic patterns. Sorry, here we go. You can see updates of future traffic patterns and how things will flow after the bridge is completed. We sort of break down our traffic internally by sections. Again, this is the North Beach, north side of the project area, where we have several closures going on. And like I said, later this summer, we have a traffic switch going over there with the southbound frontage road. And we work closely with the attractions and the homeowners on North Beach to give them advance notice of all kinds of upcoming traffic events. We have a tremendous amount of construction which impacts traffic around IH-37. And all of this, again, is available on our website. We're getting ready to have some major road openings. The MLK frontage road will be opening this summer along IH-37, which has been a source of congestion over there with that frontage road being closed. So that'll be, we hope in July to be opening that frontage road. Then after that happens later this summer, we'll be having to close a section of Leopard Street that goes under Crosstown Expressway from Cleveland to Josephine Street. So we'll be doing some outreach to meet with all the property owners and LEPC folks and the RTA folks to make everyone aware of those changes. As far as project communications, we have several outreach programs in place. I go out and meet with several stakeholders around the community like yourselves, and then we had an event yesterday where we worked with all of the Lexington employees, and we had them come out and sign all of our peer segments on the North Beach side of the project. And that was a fun event because the segment is going up in a span that aligns with the Lexingtons. We were really happy to work with them. We have events where we do work with schools. We had to postpone some of these events this spring, but we had plans for the Moody and Miller High School science and technology students to come out to our precast yard and learn about the engineering process of those segments. But we will do that again as soon as the COVID limitations open up. We also have events where we do sidewalk talks and meetings with the public on, people who are directly impacted by our traffic. Like I said earlier, we are always available. My office takes calls from requests for presentations or problems with potholes. So we're always on standby to mitigate the construction impacts. And with that sort of wraps up my presentation. We can go into as much detail as you wish. Tristan, will you walk me through going to the chat box to look at the questions with you? Or I can just go back to the slides that as needed and you can.
Yeah, I don't know if for anyone else on right now, if there are any particular questions you have from a previous slide, just type that in the chat. While we wait on that, I do have a few questions. What would you say your primary obstacle has been over the last few months? Has it been COVID-19 or has it been something else?
Actually, I feel like the COVID-19 has, and on the one hand, like I said, we've had to pull crews off to do some testing, but the reduced traffic has been a tremendous boost for the project. We've been we've had more active construction in the last couple of months than I think as much as we could hope for. So that's been sort of a positive in a weird way. You know, we're working on all avenues of this project, and our hope is to be announcing a new engineer of record when that decision has been made, and everything else will be, the progress will be such that we can catch up and start working on that main span of the bridge.
Okay. Well, I guess that answers my second question. Do you see a need to increase hiring as some of your crews, get sidelined for, whether it's 2 weeks because of COVID?
Well, during this period, we have not slowed down on hiring. So we've been hiring people as needed, even during this time period.
Okay. One question we've gotten multiple times is there going to be a way that we could send out this presentation for those on the call that would like to look through it?
You bet. I'll send you a Dropbox link, Tristan.
Okay, great.
And y'all can disseminate this.
Perfect. And for those on the call, we will add that to our daily email. We send out a link to that so you can look at it. Some other questions here. When would you expect a new engineer to be appointed for that main span?
Soon. we're working hand in hand with TxDOT to select that party and get them on board as soon as we can.
Okay. Here's a question I'm sure you never get. When would you expect this project to be completed?
Yeah, and that's part of as soon as we get that new engineer record on board, they're going to be part of that process of helping us determine what the new time frame is going to be.
Okay. Those are all that I have. If anyone else has any additional questions, give you guys the chance to type that right now.
So I have something I would like to point out, Tristan. When I met with you all, the infrastructure committee, again, I was still learning. I had a question on the design build process, and I think someone asked me if the design was completed. I think I fumbled that answer, but the true answer is that as a design build, our engineers and our project engineers present packages along the way for approval with the TxDOT and their groups. And we have, not including the main span of the bridge, but we have 92% approval on our packages, which include approaches work, road works. One package, for instance, could involve 4 columns or 4 foundations or 4 span settings. So we get packages approved on a design project like this along the way.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it changes the overall design of the bridge, but this is a design build project that gets approved along the way.
Lynn, we have another question here. Are there considerations being made for a second off-ramp to North Beach?
That'd be a question for TxDOT, but at this point in time, our design does not include anything for a second off ramp.
Okay. And final question I have here: how will? Actually, I'm sorry. We have a few more. How much time and work can you do before you get to the main span?
We can build most all of the south roadworks and north roadworks components. We can build all the approaches or whatever up to the point of inserting the main span of the bridge. So we have easily a couple of years worth of work to do before we run out of work, really.
Okay. And a final question: how will a new engineer and these delays affect the estimated final cost of the bridge?
Like I said, when it comes to schedule, they'll also be helping us determine what the actual impact of that if they're for the whole project, both cost and schedule wise.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. John, those are all the questions I have here to read.
Okay, Lynn, thank you. Excellent presentation. And I was glad to hear the question because I was going to ask it on getting a copy of this presentation. We'll want to put it up on our website and send it to our members and to our board. I think it gives us a sense. Obviously, a key decision is not in your hand, is in TxDOT's, is going forward with the selection of engineer for the main span. That's really a key component of. Can't really answer when this is going to be done until you have that firm on board and they finalize that design, and you know what the construction and time and the cost is going to be. So those are big factors. We as a community are going to have to stay in touch with TxDOT to make sure they are expeditious in getting this accomplished. Of course, we want it done safely, but we also want to get this project done as quickly as we can. It's a
Certainly.
major.
We are eager to make that announcement, John, as much as you all are eager to hear it. Once we announce a new engineer of record, we have to give them some time to come in and do their reevaluation before we can immediately publish a new timeline or new related expenses. So we're working through that as quickly as we can on our end.
Good. It's good to hear. Any other questions from anyone? If not, I think we're about done, but I do want to, we had over 100 people on this, so that's a great turnout. That I'm sure is a record for the Chamber's Infrastructure Committee. And next week, a totally different issue that we'll have a webinar on is we're going to have a presentation from the Federal Reserve on state of the economy. You heard Chairman Powell 2 days ago. This will come from the Fed office in Dallas, which covers our region. They'll give an update on the economy in our region, and also they have a new program to help business called the Main Street program. And they're initially it looked like it was just going to be for larger businesses, but they're redirecting some of that for small business. So that will be Thursday at 2 o'clock, right, Tristan? I think that's one.
Yep, that's correct. June 18th, Thursday, June 18th at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, and you can check our website for the dial-in information or getting on the Zoom meeting. But again, thank you, Lynn and Flatiron Dragados for putting this on, and we will see you all. Hopefully see you all in person very soon. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Everyone.